We have the next speaker, Professor Dr. Heshan Dinana. He is assistant professor at American University at Cairo, Egypt. Dr. Dinana has over 30 years of working experience in strategy, marketing, information technology, customer care, and high-tech manufacturing. In addition, he has more than 15 years of teaching experience, both in undergraduate and graduate degree levels. His industrial experience include healthcare, ICT, then real estate, food and agribusiness, oil and gas. He has held various positions in North America, and his consultancy work as vice president and regional managing director, and his consulting projects in Europe and Middle East. He has a wide spectrum of business and technical areas. He has taught MBA and DBA courses in strategic and international marketing at Arab Academy for Science and Technology. So he is going to talk about Society 5.0 and World Economies. I invite Professor Dr. Heshan Dinana. Professor, please.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Honored to be with you, and I apologize for the delay. I was listening to another speaker, but thanks for the invitation. Really appreciate it. And I look forward to share with you my thoughts about how Society 5.0 will shape new type of economies and how we really can take advantage of this. So with that in mind, I will start the presentation. Basically, from the theme that we've heard and the theme that you guys have been talking about, this idea of realizing Society 5.0 is not really talking only about the future. We have already started down that road. We have already begun our journey towards Society 5.0. So Society 5.0 is not science fiction. It's not something that we really have to guess whether it will happen or not. It really is about some key words that we are now trying to see how we leverage in the way we live. The idea of the use of data, the idea of creating new definitions for value creation, the idea of making people live more comfortable, sustainable. All of those are the issues that we hope that Society 5.0 will bring to us. From that perspective, we see that Society 5.0 as a concept is an encompassing concept that is not industry specific. It's not about technology and computing. It's really something that will integrate in the way we live, the way we get treated in healthcare, the way we move, the way our cities will be established, the way we deal with money. And I think we keep hearing every day about how these things are evolving. And once again, it really all comes down to the idea how we can create a more sustainable way of living and a better way to create value for the future. There are disruptive forces that actually can explain why Society 5.0 is going to be a reality. First one is, of course, the greater global connection. We've always been talking about how connected the world is today, and that whatever happens in one corner of the globe can easily be not only known, but can impact the other end of the globe. The idea of the urbanization and how the growth in large metropolis areas is changing the way we live, the way we commute. It has also an impact on our planet. Of course, technological changes that is basically affecting every part of life. And of course, last but not least, the aging of the population. People now live longer, and as people live longer, this will create new dynamics, both from economic and social implications that will shape Society 5.0. This kind of revolution, based on some of the figures, just to say how we can talk about scale and scope, are accelerating the pace of change 10 times faster, at 300%, 300 times the scale, with 3,000 times the impact. So the changes we are seeing will continue to accelerate. Based on this understanding and those kind of mega trends, and of course with the digital economy as a major enabler, I actually proposed in my work that there are 5 different economies that we have to watch, and that will reshape what we mean by value creation from an economic perspective. The experience economy, the sharing economy, the gig economy, the circular economy, and the purpose economy. Every one of those economies, of course, have at its backbone digital as a component, but once again, digital in itself is an enabler for those kind of new economic models, and how this kind of new economic models can create new kind of businesses, new kind of work environment, a new kind of perspective about how we create value for society and how we create value for individuals. What I would like to do now is to walk you through those kind of economies so we can see some of the figures and the facts that can support why this digital economy will be the backbone. For example, the digital economy, we started, of course, with the core sectors, IT and communication technologies. Then we start to see digital economy platforms, e-business, and then we start to see Industry 4.0, precision agriculture, precision medicine, algorithmic economy. So it continued to define, to be defined at different layers. These were some of the figures that shows how the impact of digitalization is and digital economy, of course, is affecting our world. Digital economy in Asia Pacific was $1.16 trillion in 2021, $4.4 trillion in the EU, and the digital output as percentage GDP reached 22.5%, and digitization actually is more powerful through the rollout of broadband and connectivity by 4.7 times, and ICT services will continue to grow by 40% as it has done historically earlier. So it still shows the largest level of growth. And as I said, it's impacting every sector. In healthcare, e-health industry stands at about $80 billion. E-education, e-learning is about $107 billion. E-manufacturing or digital manufacturing, $3.7 billion, and financial service, $57 billion. So the impact of digitization is across the board. And when we say Society 5.0, this is what society is all about. It's about how people get educated, how people produce products, how people manage their money, how people get treated. So from that perspective, we can see that this digitization has a socioeconomic impact, from economic growth at national levels to job creation, to promotion of innovation and competition, to redefinition of social relationships. I proposed actually this framework, and we integrated this framework, and when we were trying to define a vision and a strategy for digital economy in the Middle East and the Arab world. And this actually has these 4 layers: a foundational layer, which includes infrastructure, policies, digital skills, financing and governance, a digital economy ecosystem of innovation that includes all different kinds of technologies, whether talking about 3D printing, cloud computing, quantum computing, social media, robotics, and so forth, and how these digital technologies will impact the industries, whether smart health, smart education, smart logistics, and how these industries actually ultimately will lead to the main objectives we want from digital economy, which is inclusion, affordability, and accessibility. The experience economy is, was enabled by the digital economy. Here, we're talking about the creation of economic value that moves things from commodities to what now we call it the experience stage, that we even think will evolve with Society 5.0 to transformations. So we went from commodities to goods, to services, to experiences. Millennials now and the new generations actually don't pay for products and services alone. The differentiation comes from experiences. And even in the future, we'll see, as I said, transformational moves. And this is the classical example when we talk about coffee. How coffee moved from being a commodity to a good. Personalized product that can allow you to sell a cup of coffee for $5 rather than 5 cents. The size of the digital economy, the size of the experience economy and the importance of experience economy actually continue to grow. So if we see here, experience-related services has been growing at 6.3% globally, while goods has been growing at 1.6%. And services without the experience has been growing at 4.7. So experience adds value to the economy. And experience economy can be seen again in air travel, in retail, in technology services. Ultimately, basically, we believe that experience will be king. And experience will redefine how businesses interact with their customers and will define what customers are looking for. The sharing economy basically is the idea, is really redefining the concept of ownership. And a lot of companies, whether it's in automotive, whether it's in retail, in media, are really now redefining the word, the definition of the word buying and selling. When people now start to redefine their mindset about what to buy and even how to use what they already bought through the shared economy and the sharing economy, I think this will have a big implication for Society 5.0. It will have implication on demand, it will have an implication on consumption. And this is just a picture that shows that those young people actually can now use the shared economy to get everything for the trip, starting from the minivan they rent to the dress that they wear. 44% of US adults are familiar with the sharing economy. Airbnb, for example, averages 425 guests per night. It's 22% more than Hilton worldwide. The sharing economy has reached, or will reach actually by 2025, $334 billion. And Uber operates in more than 600 cities. So these kind are examples of the sharing economy and why people are going to be adopting the sharing economy more and more as we go. So 86% agree that makes life more affordable. 83% agrees more life more convenient. 76% agree it's better for the environment. 78% agree that it creates building great, stronger communities. 63% agree that it actually engages with traditional companies. It's more fun to engage in this kind of interactions, sharing rather than absolute buying and selling. And 89% agree that's based on trust between providers and users. And trust is becoming a major part of how companies can and individuals look for value creation. So the gig economy, in my view, is where we start to see a redefinition of work. And maybe some of you have heard that term. A couple of months ago, they were talking in the US about the Great Resign and how a lot of people are leaving their traditional jobs and looking for to become more independent contractors. Of course, this does not come across in all industries the same way. Some industries leading the way, but we can see it's really becoming more prevalent in professional services, in ICT, industry. So it is gaining a lot of ground, a lot of traction. Younger people don't view lifelong jobs and staying with one company as the way to go anymore. They would like to see their life and the balance between work and life in a different light than older people like myself. So this idea of how the sharing economy will continue to grow, the gig economy will continue to grow, is a fascinating idea because it changes the definition, as I said, of work, and with it comes all kinds of social implications. Things like how about health insurance if I don't have a fixed employment contract? How about the social security payments and retirement? There's all kinds of interesting things that come that says that the gig economy might have, of course, we have to understand that these economies interchange because of the case, for example, of Uber. Uber is the sharing economy from the asset perspective, but it's a gig economy for the people that work on the Uber cars. So the question is this kind of disruption about what are the kind of workforce should we have in the future, and what kind of HR policies will we have, and how do we, as an employees and employers, readdress our value proposition, I think is a very interesting change that I expect to see in Society 5.0. The circular economy basically is clearly linked to a major challenge that we all see today related to the environment. But the idea here is that circular is a lot more than recycling. It's the next evolution. So here we're talking about having a circular economy that starts from product design, not how to dispose of product at the end of its life, but actually we have two streams, as you can see on the circular economy. We have a stream that deals with biological materials, and another stream that talks with technical materials. And in both of those streams, or both of the angles or two sides of that coin, we can see we can do a lot, whether from energy recovery to how we maintain and we reuse the products, how we extend the lifetime of products, the idea of remanufacturing. So this concept of circular economy also in some studies have shown to have a big economic impact. According to a study that was done by BCG, Boston Consulting Group, they expect that the circular economy would reach about $4.5 trillion, and hence, starting from material costs that continue to increase, that get people to think more about reuse of material, the raw material price volatility, waste, disruption, supply chains, all of these things make the circular economy more attractive for companies. To summarize, I might be skipping some slides just to get to the key message I want to deliver and to catch up on the delay. The purpose economy is really another fascinating type of economy where we're trying to achieve the triple aim of having not only profits, but profit and people and planet into the equation, where younger generations now don't think of that the only purpose for business should be profit making. So this is where the purpose economy comes. Purpose economy is not charity. Purpose economy is not about social responsibility. Purpose economy is economic models where we can balance the way we work to cover both profit and people at the same time. People, of course, we mean the social impact of the businesses. So the purpose economy has grown and has shown a very big growth trends among younger generations, is expected to continue to grow. There's a number of drivers for it: globalization, of course, the advent of new technologies, geopolitical events, cross-industry competition, and of course, as I was saying, the new millennial mindset. Those are some examples and cases of companies that have used that social entrepreneurship and purpose economy models, like Think Impact. This brings actually students in local communities in rural Africa and Latin America, and it really sends students around the globe to make this kind of global connections. Vava Coffee Actually, it's a Kenyan coffee that works with small farmers. And traditionally, those farmers that does not have access to fair markets now can, through Guava Coffee, really have that access to the market and at the same time get more value for their produce. Ochten is a company that actually makes luxurious fashion bags, but then they work with artisans and low income segments of society to make sure they create jobs. And since most of these products are handmade, not relying on very high-tech machinery, expensive, then those people can be taught the artisan skills and use them. So to conclude, Society 5.0 is here to stay. It's already started. We will continue to see it evolving. Society 5.0 will create new economies that has its backbone, the digital course economy, but then other forms of value creation will come, whether it's the value for the use of assets, the value of disposing of reuse of assets, the value of social implications of the business. That defined, in my perspective, those 5 economies: the gig economy, the purpose economy, the shared economy, the experience economy. Those kind of economies, basically what we will see shaping the future of Society 5.0. But we don't expect this to happen easily. It's a journey that's going to be mired with some, what I call it, walls. And those walls are the things that we need to penetrate to be able for Society 5.0 to mature. The first is, of course, the wall of ministries and agencies. Government, of course, plays a big role, either as a supporter for the development of Society 5.0 or a blocker based on the policies they make. The wall of the legal systems, rules and regulations, the wall of technology and technology adoption and concerns about technology use, concerns related to cybersecurity, privacy issues, and the wall of human resources, having people that are capable to deal with these new economies, and the wall of social acceptance. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for your attention, and it will be my pleasure to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor, for your interesting and informative speech. Any questions from the participants, audience? Hello? Professor?
Yes, I'm with you. I'm just waiting to
Yes,
see if there's
okay,
any questions for me.
Any question? How long it will take to implement this one?
Actually, Japan has already announced it, and they are taking the lead to promote the principles of Society 5.0. The next expo, which is 2025, that will happen in Japan, Society 5.0 will be the theme for it. And as I said, it's a journey that already started, and I think will start in the coming period, and maybe, as I said, with the Expo 2025 focus that will take the center stage, become a global known topic.
Okay. Sir, any other question from others? No questions, Professor. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Appreciate it, and thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be with you, and I wish you guys all the best for the rest of the sessions for the day. Thank you.
Thank you.